The render on this refurb has definitely seen better days. We've got holes and cracks all over the place. The question is, are they superficial? Or is there something more serious going on underneath? Today's video is all about removing render. So if you're planning on removing render off your own property or hiring contractors and you want to know what to expect, this is one video you need to watch. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. And if this is your first time here, I want to give you a heads up. This channel is all about construction and tools. So if that's your thing, hit the subscribe button, click the bell so you don't miss a thing. So I'm a big fan of render, especially when it's maintained and in good condition. Unfortunately, our render is not doing so good. And that's the major downside of render. It's really good at hiding problems. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing the tips, tricks, and tools required to get the job done. So let's take a closer look at the job in hand. Okay, so the render started looking a little bit shabby. We've got cracks all over the place. This one here, we've got a really big crack here running down from the windowsill, and it's no longer level. We've actually got stuff growing, so obviously we've got water getting in to the render, and that's not good because once it gets behind there, it can be quite difficult for it to get back out again, so it can cause issues on the inside with damp. As you can see, it's all breaking away here, so I don't think that's going to be hard work to take that off. And you've got more up here. See, it's all breaking away, so we're going to take all of this off. It's all breaking off on the bottom, pretty much all the way round. So more cracks forming here. Hole here. I don't know what is going on underneath the render there, but you can see that's been some sort of repair, not a particularly good one. It's really obvious, and the problem is I really want to have this property needs to have a wow factor when we put it back on the market, because it's all well and good doing loads of modifications and upgrades on the inside, but it's first impressions that count. So I want people to walk up and this all needs to be absolutely perfect. So if you look up there, we've already started work. We're replacing one of the concrete sills up there, which was cracked in half. So when we actually removed the windowsill, a lot of the render below it came away and the mortar was damaged. So we want to put that right. I don't know what's going on behind the cracks on the render here, but it's best just to take it all off and re-render it from scratch. So let's go check out the side of the property. So to be honest, the render on this side isn't too bad. It's still, none of it's really delaminated, it's still a solid part of the house, so there's a few patches we could do with fixing. And if you come up here, if you look up there, we have got a crack going down that's been there since we've owned the property. We've inserted a window since, so we need to take all the render off where there's a crack and just check what the state of the mortar and the brickwork is, and hopefully, or the idea is here, we just do a patch repair rather than redo the whole render. And again, around where we've moved the toilet and the waste out of the toilet, we've moved that along. So a few patch repairs on this and maybe a repaint, but not a case of having to re-render it all from scratch. With this type of project, I would always suggest starting off slow with manual tools. And the reason for that is we don't know at the moment how well the render is stuck to the property. So it could be quite hard to remove, or it could already be delaminated and just drop straight off the walls. And we don't want to be damaging the bricks underneath. I suggest starting with something like this. So this is a Scutch Chisel. Obviously you strike it on the end with a hammer like you would any other chisel, and it's got jagged teeth in this chisel piece in the end. Now the chisel piece itself is reversible, so you've got teeth this side. Once you blunt them down, you take it out, switch it around, and you can go again. Scutch chisels are designed to cut and shape stone and brickwork. However, it's also common to use them for other jobs, including removing brickwork, removing mortar, and also removing render. Now, I find the Scutch chisels great because it's able to get under the surface, but after that, you can obviously switch to a normal chisel if you don't want to scratch the brickwork. I find it's easiest to start at the weakest point, which is generally the corners, being careful and working in from the corner so as not to blow the corner of the brick. In areas where the render is blown, little effort's going to be required to get it off. Other areas are going to be a lot more time consuming. The bricks on older period properties are often a lot softer and more fragile, so manual render removal is definitely the way to go. Now, if you're going to hire a contractor and they turn up with a jackhammer, then I'd be very concerned.
As we're going to be re-rendering with a more sympathetic render, the odd scrape brick here and there isn't going to matter. That's why I'm sticking with a Scutch Chisel for the whole job. If you're looking at restoring the original brickwork, there are companies out there that will do the job for you. But just be aware it is a very slow process, as they have to carefully remove the render brick by brick. A neighbouring property recently had this work done and the results are really impressive.
So I thought I'd give you an update on how it's going, getting this render off. Yeah, some bits have been easier than others. This stuff here, these red bricks, it's come off really well. However, these ones, as you can see, a different type of brick and they are a lot harder and it's a lot more difficult to get the render off. But I want to show you, I've been working up there trying to take it off the archway, but let's give you a closer look. Trying to get the render off some of these bricks here. Got a bit of a wobble now, so we're gonna have to dig all this out. It's coming out quite easily actually. You have to dig all that out and then repoint all of this, and then you can see it looks like, because this is no longer level, so it looks like these have actually moved out a fraction.
Render removal will obviously create a lot of rubble to clear, which can be really time consuming. However, I have a really neat hack for massively speeding up that job. But if you want to see it, you're going to have to wait until the end of the video. Now you're going to find some render comes off really easily, other times it could be hard going. This part of the wall was really hard work and I had to resort to plan B, an SDS drill with Scutch attachment. Most of this render was removed manually, however when the bricks were harder I did resort to an SDS. And I don't think there's a problem with this, providing you take it carefully. Although an SDS drill can save a lot of time and effort, I've actually come across a really effective technique for removing stubborn render using an angle grinder attachment from DeWalt. This is the DWE 46225 125mm concrete cutting guard attachment from DeWalt, and it's compatible with all 5-inch DeWalt angle grinders.
Right, now we're going to give this a go. So, first off, we've got the dust collection here, so we're going to connect it up to the Hoover. It's the airlock system from DeWalt, so this should hopefully collect a lot of the dust. This has actually got a line on here, and this allows you to cut on a line because that's exactly where the blade is within this device. I'm just going to draw some lines down this wall here. It's nice straight lines just to try and keep the machine on these lines. You've actually got the depth guide here, which allows you to set the depth that you want to cut to, and then to get to the blade you would push both buttons and it unlocks it. So the blade is all ready to go. We'll just lock it up again, and we're currently it's set to about 20 mil almost that we're going to cut in. So we've already taken some render off down here, as you can see. So we've got a rough depth, so we're going to go just above the surface just to score in a cut up here, a couple of lines, and then it means we can just get the SDS drill in here to get these chunks off.
Now, if you don't already own a DeWalt angle grinder, I definitely recommend going out and buying a cheap corded version. That, along with this attachment, and you'll have a really efficient tool. Now, I have seen people try and do the same job with just an angle grinder without any kind of depth control, but the problem with that is you really risk trashing the bricks. I wasn't blown away by the dust extraction on this, but it is described as dust free. However, I am running it up a lumpy, bumpy wall, and it's designed for running along the ground for putting grooves in concrete, so that probably accounts for a lot of the dust that you're seeing.
We've got the Scutch piece in the end of the drill, as you can see, and then we've just got grooves now that we can get into.
Definitely a technique that I'd highly recommend, and all in all it was a good day of render removal. That was, apart from the fact that it ended up killing my trusted SDS drill after many years of loyal service. So this was the last job it was ever going to perform.
morning. So it's another day, more render removal, and do you know what, it always surprises me how we can be one day almost 27 degrees and then a couple of days later it's like 7 degrees. Let me show you what I've got planned. So we've been making some good progress on this. Unfortunately we had some pretty heavy rain for a few days, so had to kind of pause it a bit. I want to show you the bits that I've got planned to do today, so it's a lot of finishing off really. So we've got this little section here near the door. There's this bit here, I'm going to need the angle grinder. We've got it all off around here, around the windows, although there's a bit there. Again, there's a little bit around here. It's stuck to the wire. There's like a wire mesh. That should be quite quick just to run across there, get that last patch off. So that's the plan for today anyway. The bags are starting to pile up now, full of the renders, so we've done well there. I've got to tidy that up. That's been there for a few days now. So yeah, as you can see, there's quite a lot of jobs still to do. To be honest, I should really be writing this down because get them all in the right order, otherwise I'm getting a bit overwhelmed with it all. But you know what, at least the sun is shining. Hotter up here than I thought it was going to be. And actually, look who we got over here. Hello. How you doing? Good morning. Good morning to you. Do you like the sun? You do, don't you, Storm? You love the sun. You love the sun. Unfortunately, I haven't got insurance for you to come out here and help me, so yeah, you know, I know, but you're gonna have to stay inside. As much as you'd like to come out. Look at that sun, look at that. Glorious, mate. Right, I've got to get on. Although I'm still going to be working on the corners with hammer and scutch, because obviously you don't want to be using a drill on this because it just going. You've got to have a bit more control. It's quite easy just to blow the corners of the bricks off if you're using an SDS. Now, with the death of my Bosch SDS, I've had to try out a replacement, and this is it. This is the DeWalt DCH 417 cordless SDS, and so far I found it really impressive. Now, you can pick up an SDS drill with chisel action for under 100 quid, but I would say if your budget allows it, I would try and push for a bit more and try and get a cordless version. When you're chiseling off things like render and tiles, you'll find it'll drop on the cord and hold you back. So I would always say a cordless version is the way to go. So this is where we are. We've managed to get all that off there actually quite quickly. So we're over to there now. So that's pretty good. I'll show you, look at that. That's the largest piece of render I got off in one go. Almost caught it in my teeth actually, but yeah, pretty solid. So that came down, and now we're going to move on to this bit. Before we do that, you can actually see, I was going to leave it in place. Oh, and it's falling out. So the lid was becoming loose. It's actually come down now. So I'm going to temporarily take that out of the way so that I can and store it somewhere safe. And then we've got a little bit of render we can take off the wall here. So I think we need to do that now. With the lead removed, I need to temporarily stop water getting in. For that, I'm going to be adding in a flashband strip. I've actually made a separate video on that, and I'll leave a link in this video. With most of the render removed, now's a good time to share with you my special hack for clearing up the mess. If you've ever tried clearing up rubble or render on your own, you'll know what a ball ache it can be to get the stuff in a bag. Start by grabbing yourself an old bucket. I've got one here with cement dried in the bottom. Grab yourself a wooden plastic blade and put it in your multi-tool and go about cutting off the bottom of the bucket. I know it sounds strange, but bear with me, it's going to make sense. Then place the bag in the bucket and fold it over the bucket. You'll find the bucket then holds the bag nicely open and you can start filling it with render. Then as the bucket gets full, slide the bucket slowly up the bag and continue filling the bag. And if this hack isn't worth subscribing to this channel right now, then I don't know what is. With the render removed, we can finally assess the repairs we're going to need to do. I knew when I started this job that we were going to find problems. The render below this bay window literally dropped off the wall. At some point in time, somebody thought it would be a good idea
to apply a strong sand and cement render onto this period property. Unfortunately, these properties like to move. When it moved, it caused severe cracks in the render, water got in and damaged the face of these bricks. It also caused damp on the inside. You can see the holes drilled here where a damp treatment was applied internally. It's really sad to see the damage caused by inappropriate materials, which is why we need to ensure that the new render applied to this period property is breathable. Despite all the problems, we're gonna put it right. Where we've got damaged bricks, we're gonna replace them. Where the bricks have become loose, we're gonna lay them again. And where the mortar's dropped out, we're gonna do the pointing all over again. And once that's done, we'll be able to render. And even the massive crack in the windowsill can be sorted. We've already got a new one on order, and once the render's been removed off these bricks, we can replace the ones that are damaged. This refurb was always going to look a lot worse before it looks better, but it's work that needs to be done. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next one.